Good day, viewers. My name is Darlington Okoka, and I welcome you to Delwit Electrical YouTube channel. In today's video, we will be teaching you on how to connect an intermediate switch. Now, intermediate switches are switches that helps you connect or control a specific lighting circuit from 3 or more different locations. So, have you ever thought of powering a lighting point from 3 or 4 locations? Maybe you have a sitting room that has 3 entrances, maybe from the office, from the bedroom, and from the entrance, and you want that particular switch to be controlled by 3 points, by 3 different switches. You can't do that with your common two-way switch. Two-way switches are only used for 2 points, but when you have more than 2 points, you will need an intermediate switch. So in today's video, we'll show you how to use intermediate switch, how to connect it. Even if you have up to 10 stairs, 20 stairs, 50 stairs, you can use an intermediate switch to do the connection, and it will effectively put on the lighting circuit that you want to light. So today I'm going to show you this. This is called an intermediate switch, while this is called a two-way switch. Can you spot the difference here? Now, looking at this carefully, this is your normal switch that you know. It's called a two-way switch. The two-way switch has 3 terminals. You have the common, you have the L1, and you have the L2. For those of us that have done wiring before, you notice that whenever you turn on this button, it's called the on position, and when you turn it off, it's off position. So your lighting point gets on when you put it on and gets off when you turn it off. Now, this is because it's connected to the L1 position. But when you want it to be reversed, like we have in Canada and the US, whereby the off button is called the on and the on button is called the off, you connect your output wire from the L2 locations. So we can see that this is a normal one-gang two-way switch. But for the intermediate switch, which is this, intermediate switch is kind of different. We have 4 terminals. It's called the L1, L2, L3, L4. For some other switches, you have port 1, port 2, port 3, port 4. But that is not necessary. What is actually necessary is the circuit diagram that is shown here. If you look at every intermediate switch, it has a circuit diagram. Then on this circuit diagram, you would see that terminal 1 is looped to terminal 4, and terminal 2 is looped to terminal 3. So in that case, if you do continuity test now, you would see this is a multimeter, this is a clamp meter, but it has a multimeter function. If you take this now to your multimeter function and let's test the continuity, you would see that this is terminal 3. Please come closer. This is terminal 3 and this is terminal 4. So when you go to your terminal, this is terminal 3 and this is terminal 2 and this is terminal 3. When you come closer, you will see that there's continuity. You can see that is BP. Now when you go to terminal 1 and 4, you see that there's continuity. But when you go to 1 and 2, no continuity. That's to let you know that from this circuit diagram that is here, you can see it from this circuit diagram that is here, it's showing that 1 and 4 are looped, while 2 and 3 are looped. So that is the connection we are going to be doing today, and then we'll see how it's going to be connected. Now, first of all, this is the lamp that we're going to be testing to see if it's going to actually work. So what we want to do, like for your staircase, let's assume that we have a 3 floors. So this two-way switch that we have is going to be at the ground floor and the last floor. So we have this at the ground floor, we have this at the 3rd floor. While you have this at the 1st floor, we have this at the 2nd floor. So these are ground floor, these are 1st floor, this 2nd floor, and this 3rd floor. So you're going to, or you want a situation whereby this lamp that is on the staircase, so you can have as many lamps as possible. Maybe you have 1 lamp at the ground floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor, as many lamps as possible. You loop them in parallel. Then you have your lamp. So you want this switch to control this lamp. You want this other switch at the 1st floor to control this lamp. You want this one at the 2nd floor to control this lamp. And you want this one at the 3rd floor to also control this lamp. So how are we going to do this connection? Go with me to my circuit diagram. I have already prepared a circuit for it to aid understanding. So we're going to have a circuit diagram. I'm going to display it now on the screen. So in this circuit diagram, we will try as much as possible to make it very easy for you. So let's go to the screen. All right. As you can see on this circuit diagram, you can see this is a breaker on the distribution board. We are taking the live from the breaker on the distribution board. It's coming to an one-gang two-way switch. This is a one-gang two-way switch. This is an intermediate switch. This is an intermediate switch. This is an intermediate switch, and this one-gang two-way switch. So in this case, this is going to be our ground floor, this is our first floor, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor. Now, with what you are saying now, we have these lamps. So this lamp is going to be at our ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. So there are 4 lamps. You see that they are connected in parallel, neutral to neutral, neutral to neutral, neutral to neutral. While the live to live, live to live, live to live, then the output is coming to the common of the last one gang two-way switch. So look at it now. From here, we have the lamp, the live, the red wire is connected straight to the first common of the one gang switch on the ground floor. Then you have 2 strippers wire. This wire is called traveler, but on the technical term is called a stripper wire. 2. The strippers are connected L1 to L1, L2 to L1. Now look at how this intermediate switch is. For this particular intermediate switch, we have L1, L1, L2, L2. Unlike the former one I showed you, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to do now, we're connecting the L1 of the one gang two-way switch to the L1 to the first L1 of the intermediate switch. We're connecting the L2 of the one gang switch to the L1, the second L1 on the intermediate switch. Then you are done with the one gang switch. You now go to the first intermediate switch. You're going to connect L2 to L1, L2 to L1. The same thing happens in the next one too. You are connecting L2 to L1, L2 to L1. While the last one, you are connecting L2 to L2, L2 to L1. You get it? So now we now go to the common. On the common of the last one gang two-way switch, you are going to connect it to the live of the last lamp. Then from the live of the last lamp, you now loop it to the live of the other lamp, to the live of this other lamp, to the live of this other lamp. Then this neutral, we're taking our neutral bar from the breaker, from the distribution board, we're taking it again and we're looping it down. When you do this, you can actually control this entire lamp either from here, from here, from here, from here, or from here. So this is the circuit. Then after this, let's do the connection practically and see if it's going to work. All right, from the circuit, you remember that we have live and neutral coming from the distribution board. So this is our live and neutral coming from the distribution board. And if you see the circuit, you will see that the live is actually connected to the first common, the common of the first one way, one gang, two-way switch. So this is the common. I'm going to connect the live to this common now. So I connect this to this. Now, you can now see also that this neutral is connected from the circuit diagram. This neutral is connected to the first neutral of the first lamp. Now we're using only one lamp, so they can have as many lamps as possible. So I'm going to connect this neutral to the neutral of this lamp. All right, so this is actually done. So we're done with the first set. The next thing to do now is the traveler. So we're going to have a traveler coming from here to here. So on the circuit, we said L1 is connected to the L1 of this, L2 is connected to the L1 of this. So we're going to take 2 traveler wires to do that connection. So these are 2 traveler wires. So we'll connect the first one to L1. Then you connect the second one to L2. Now, these 2 traveler wires now, we said we are going to connect them to L1 and L2. So we're going to connect this now to L1 and L2. So we're connecting this one now to L1 and we're connecting. You can look at it now. This is L1 and L2. This is L1. So L1 comes here. Then L2 comes here. Take note that why we are connecting in this way is that if you look at this circuit diagram very well, you will see that 1 and 4 are similar, while 2 and 3 are similar. Look at it carefully. This circuit. So your own might be 1 and 2 are looped, while 2 and 4 are looped. So it depends on how it's being looped. It's because 1 and 4 are looped. That's why 1 will be input, 2 will be output. 1 will be input, 4 will be output. 2 is input, 3 is output. So if your own is not in this direction, make sure you follow this circuit diagram to understand how you are going to connect it. But for those of you that your own intermediate switch has this circuit diagram, this is how you are going to connect it. All right. So we take 2 more strappers cable. You connect it from 3 to 1, 4 to 1. All right. So let's do it now. So I'm going to connect this one now. Connect it here. Take the next strippers cable. Ensure that your terminals are not too much so that it doesn't get bridged along the line. So you use what you're supposed to use. You only strip what you're supposed to use. So you come here now for your 4. You take your 4, connect it tightly. And take it to your 2. All right, so you now take the last set of strippers that you are going to connect now. This last set is going to go to, so you can see now this is your ground floor, first floor, second floor. This is the last floor, the third floor. So you take these strippers now, you connect 3 to, you are going to connect 3 to L1, then 4 to L2. You connect this, so you just strip only what you will need. All right, so the last aspect now is to connect the common of the last one gang two-way switch to the live of your first lighting point. So this is the common of the last gang switch, one gang switch. You connect it from the common, take it there. This is the common point. Screw it properly and tightly. Remember that this is on the wall where your normal switch is. Connect it. Ensure that they are very tight. Then you go to the switch where it is now, the lamp itself, and connect your lamp to that position. So you can now see that from your circuit diagram now, you can see now that the live from the circuit breaker on your DB is connected to the common of the first one gang two-way switch. You can see that on the ground floor you have one gang two-way switch. On the last floor you have one gang two-way switch. Then in between the floors you are going to be having intermediate switches. So even if it's 20, 30, 40 floors, in between the first and the last is intermediate switch. So you can see L1 is connected to port 1, L2 is connected to port 2, L3 is connected to port 1, L4 is connected to port 2. The same thing to L3 is connected to L1, L2 is connected to L2. So that is all. Then the common of this last switch is now connected to the live of the first switch. then this is the neutral coming from your distribution board. So if there are 4 or 5 lamps, you can connect them in parallel, live to live, neutral to neutral, to as many lamps as possible. So let's test this circuit and see if it will actually work. This is our lamp. You can see now that the lamp is on, right? So this is the first floor, this is the second floor, this is the first floor, this is the second floor, this is the third floor, and this is the last floor. So let's check it. This is the first floor, is on. I'm on the first floor, it's off. I'm on the second, I'm on the ground floor, it's off. I'm on the first floor, it's on. I'm on the second floor, it's off. I'm on the last floor, it's on. So even if I'm coming downstairs again, this is the last floor, I put on the light. This is the first floor, I put on the light. This is the second floor, I put on the light. And this is the first floor, I put on. So this is how to connect a 4-floor staircase light with different intermediate switch. So your first floor is your 1 GaN 2-way switch. Your next floor is your 1 GaN 2-way switch. Then in between, you have an intermediate switch. And take note, intermediate switches are usually very scarce in the market. In our next video, we are going to do a very comprehensive video on how you can use the 2 GaN switch to actually connect an intermediate switch. All right, thank you very much. That is all for this section of our training. If this video has been very useful to you, kindly click on the subscribe button to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that subsequent videos you'll be notified. And for those of you who are finding it very difficult to find intermediate switch, don't be worried. In our next video, we are going to show you how to use a 2 GaN 2-way switch to construct an intermediate switch, and it's going to work perfectly just the way this intermediate switch has worked. So if you're having challenge on how to get intermediate switch, don't worry, we'll do that video for you in our next class. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.